Hey, what's up YouTube? This is a true hero coming at you with another video. Now, I will preface this video by saying I got no beef with anybody in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I have zero intentions of starting some kind of YouTube Yu-Gi-Oh war. Got no intentions of doing that. In the spirit of that, I'm not gonna call anybody out. I'm not going to call anybody out by names. But I just watched a video on YouTube. Somebody who placed top 8 in regionals. The YouTube video went up fairly recently, and I watched it. And a top player there said that Solemn Strike, Solemn Strike is a bad card. He said he cited it out every game. Now, I am not saying that every staple belongs in every deck. I don't run Twin Twisters in my heroes, and that is because, things like you need a card to discard in order to use the card. Well, I run Bubble Man, so I'm setting all my cards to special summon Bubble Man from hand. I get it. Not every staple card belongs in every deck. But I think saying something like Solemn Notice is a bad card, I think that is just crazy. Whether or not you decide you want to run that is up to you, but I think that there's a lot to be said for running this card at 3 at to the least, especially now that we're entering into a meta where control is going to be a huge factor. We got Tree Toad coming in. We have ABC Dragon coming in. Of course, Burning Abyss has always been around. It's been around for God, how long has that deck been around? Y'all people who invested in Burning Abyss, y'all got your money's worth. Let me tell you that. But I'm digressing. But because we have a meta where control is such a huge factor of the game, and a lot of that control is coming through monster effects and monsters that we're special summoning, whether it be from extra deck or our hands, etc., or pendulum summoning. This deck just this card just keeps your opponent in control. It gives you outs to certain plays. So I mean, I'm using my hero example. I've played ABCs where somebody swinging into me, and I went Storming Mirror Force, and he went Cyber Dragon Infinity, and I said Solemn Notice. Okay, so he can't chain with ABC Dragon to special summon 3 monsters and put them in defense mode to keep his monsters safe, to keep his board safe. So his Cyber Dragon Infinity and his ABC Dragon are both getting popped. Not popped, excuse me. They're both getting put back into his extra deck. Keeping your opponent from putting out their boss monsters. Pendulum summoning. Good God, I was just recently playing a Magic Spectre deck with a Dark Magician. In case you guys aren't or haven't seen that video, you guys should check out my Dark Magician build deck. But I was playing a guy, and I mentioned in that video that this guy tried to throw out an entire board with his pendulum summons, including a Corinne, and I basically went Solemn Notice, and he went screw you, scoop, enter game 2. So there's a lot to be said for running this card at 2 or 3. I think calling it a bad card is a stretch to put it as nicely as possible. I think calling this a bad card is a stretch. I rolled down in the comments after I watched the video. Some people were making some comments like, oh, I guess every card is a bad card. So I'm going to take a guess and assume this player says that a lot about a lot of different cards. But just to give you guys an example as to what I'm talking about, I'm just going to show you a few examples, just a few replays, some meta games, some non-meta games, to show you what I'm talking about in terms of how useful this card can be. Alright guys, so in this first game, again, it's the game that I mentioned where I was playing Spellcasters against a Magic Spectre deck, and he decided, oh, you're running Dark Magician, I'm gonna go ham. Clearly not the best situation for him. Threw down a bluff card, a Dark Magic attack. I put that face down. It wasn't really doing me any good. Luckily, he popped that one instead of my Solemn Notice, and boom. your board is done. Your pendulums on either side are essentially dead because you have nothing in hand, no cards on field, and I no longer have to worry about your odd eyes, your Corinne, what are the magic? Sorry, your raccoon. So definitely, and this is Dark Magician. I just made my video and I said Dark Magician not tier 1, but not low tier either. But you know, you put this up against a Magic Spectre deck, this deck should not come out on top. And even in my game 2, again, check out my other video. My game 2, you'll see that this card was fairly effective in keeping my spellcaster safe against higher tiered decks. And we'll go into one more. This is with my hero deck. And in this one, you'll see that I opened bad in terms of monsters and making pushes with my monsters. Of course, you guys know by now, you want to go Darklaw into Tree Toad, and I just did not have the resources at my disposal to do that. But I drew into triple Solemn Strike and one Solemn Warning. So instead of, you know, throwing out a monster, which essentially would just be a 2600 beater because Acid has no spells to pop, I decided to hold back and just kind of play a little bit more reactively, rely on my face down counter traps, and of course you'll see he's playing a Lightsworn variant, so he's not going to be setting a lot of cards anyway. And essentially, I shut down the deck. Eventually, I will get the chance to go off, and I will draw into a monster that I can use. There you go, Summoner Monk, classic Summoner Monk into Darklaw play. But Darklaw doesn't really do much for me because thanks to my face down cards, I don't really give my opponent the opportunity to do anything. There you go. He just tried to clear Darklaw off field. No. Stop that. And like I say that jokingly, but running this card at 2, at 3, keeping the consistency of being able to stop your opponent from utilizing monster effects that would otherwise allow him to gain control of the board or put a stop to your control over the board is very important, especially now, again, now that we're going to be entering a high control-based meta. So, you know, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the comment. Again, I have no beef with anybody. Please don't somebody find this video, find out who I'm talking about, and say, hey, listen, True Hero's saying this about you. You better watch your back. It's not the case. Just trying to put my opinion out there for other people to have a different perspective. And you guys can come to your own conclusions about that. Of course, as always, please leave comments in the comments section below. I would love to hear what you guys think. And like and subscribe if you like the video. Hey, what's going on YouTube? True Hero, as always, saving this part of the video for last in case you guys are only interested in the discussion and don't really want to worry about purchasing or anything of that nature. But again, just showing you guys off some of the merchandise we have here. Again, I am working at a card shop, Wake Forest Hobby, located in Wake Forest, North Carolina. We just recently acquired a mint copy of Phantom Knights of Break Sword. It is currently up on eBay. Grab it while you can. A link for this card will be put into the description below. And again, as always, we do have other cards at our disposal up on eBay, and we'll be listing more very, very shortly. We just got another shipment of cards, and we'll be putting up more stuff. We've got copies of Elder Entity Nodin coming up, and a few other fun stuff that you guys will be looking to, that you guys are, excuse me, been talking all night with customers, but cards that you guys will be looking to utilize in your decks come November once we get Invasion and all of those wonderful cards. So again, like and subscribe if you like the video. A link will be posted in the description below for this card and other cards that you guys might be interested in. And of course, as always, thank you for watching.